Alright, hello everyone. Welcome to the final part of this video. This is part 5, and in this episode we're pretty much going to fix the one issue with our start command, where if you write the start command again while it's already running, it will generate an error, and also will copy codes in a way that you don't want to. And we're also going to create a validation so that not everyone can write the starting command. So let's say you only want your host in your Discord channel to be able to write commands. Well, right now anyone can write it, so we'll start with that first. So to start off with that, we're going to go in our commands here, and we're creating a new file, and I'm going to call this file add roles, .js. Alright, and then we're going to start like any other file, where we're going to export our module. Oops. And this is the same thing we wrote multiple times, so I'm not going to explain it. Alright. Alright, so this command, what it'll do is that you can write it and then tag a role into the command, and that will be added into your into the allowed roles that the bot will recognize. So here I started this new file called add roles into my command folder, but I'm also going to add a file into my generalized folder, my project folder, and I'm going to call it roles.json. Alright, and here I'm just going to open a curly bracket, and I'm going to write roles, roles like this with quotation marks, and then I'm going to put an empty array. So this is just the square brackets closed out. So you got two of them. So you got opening and closing. Alright, that's all we need for now. Save that one. Let's go back to our add roles. And here we have to require our file system, because we're going to read that JSON file and then write to it. So we're going to create a constant called fs, and this is going to require our file system. Alright, that's all we need to require. And here, we never used it yet, this one parameter called args. This is arguments, and this is when you're going to write, let's say, the add role command, and then you're going to put, let's say, a host. Add role is the command, but this is an argument, so we're going to use it this time. Alright, so let's start it off. So if our args.length is equal to 0, so that means the player only wrote the add role command, but he never wrote a role to match it with. So that doesn't help us at all. So here, if someone writes just the command, we're gonna send him a message. So message.channel.send, and we're gonna say a role is needed after the command. I'm gonna put example add role at host. Actually, I'm not gonna put host, because I'm gonna put scrim host, because if someone actually is a host, I think that might tag them in it. Alright, and then else, if we actually do have an argument, so if our args.length is greater than 0, then over here we're going to firstly grab, so this file we just created here, the roles.json, we're going to grab this file. So to do this, we're going to create our roles underscore raw, because it's going to be a raw data, and we're going to go file system dot read file sync, and from there we're going to grab our roles. So it's roles.json. Alright, so now we got our raw data. We just need to put this data into a JSON format. So we're going to roles underscore array, and this will be equal to JSON dot parse, and it's going to parse our roles underscore raw. And then after that, we're just going to create a command called role, and this command will be equal to our argument 0, and we're gonna validate to make sure if someone puts a false role, that is actually a good one before. So we're gonna also create a variable called found, and we're gonna call it false. And then we're going to loop, and we're going to check if we have this roles if the role that we wrote is not into the in the role folder already. So for variable I equals 0, while I is smaller than roles underscore array dot length, dot roles dot length, because in this file our roles array grabs this whole thing and we want the roles section of it, so it's roles array dot roles dot length I plus plus, and then here we're going to check. So if role is equal to roles underscore array dot roles of I, if we do have it, that means we found it. So our found is now equal to true, and we're going to message.channel.send, and we're going to put role plus already present in allowed roles. That means it's already in the file. So it's like if you add like something that's already been there, and then we're just going to return to stop the function from working. And if we didn't find it, so if found is not true, then we're going to go into a roles array dot roles dot push, and we're going to push our new role in it. And then so now we added their new role, we want to write it to file. So let's do it quick. So let roles underscore write. This will be equal to our JSON dot stringify, and we're going to stringify our roles array. Alright, and now we're going to write to file. So write file sync, and then we're going to write to our roles file, roles.json, and then we're going to write our roles right into that file. Perfect. Alright, so this is all we need for this file. I'm going to save it. We can't test it right now because we still have to make something recognize its use. So for that, we're going to go onto our index.js, our very first file we created. Here we're going to need to add a validation function so that we can use what we just wrote. So let's call it raw. Let raw equals file system dot read file. The read file sync, and then in here we're going to check our roles dot. We're going to check our roles.json. The reason I didn't have to require fs is because we already did that in the first episode, because we already used JSON file formats. Okay. Now we're going to call another variable called allowed roles, which allowed roles will be all the roles that are from this file. So we're going to parse raw. So allowed roles is technically like all the roles that the bot will let himself be used for. So if I have let's say the host role, and the host role is in this allowed roles, it will work. But if it's not in here, it won't let you, and it'll give you a little message to tell you that it doesn't work. So let's try the validation. So validation will be a function. Validation is equal to a function, and the function is going to take a server role and user roles. Oops, I did a typo. So server roles and user roles. Now, I'm not usually this bad at typing, but I have a huge mic going across my arm, so it makes it harder to actually reach for the keyboard. Alright, so we got our new function. Here we're going to create a variable called value, and I'll put false in it. And then here we're going to check. So if our server roles dot for each, so this is like for each value inside the array, we're going to check. So the role of it, or arrow function, if the role is a user role dot for each, and then here we're going to put I guess USR. And then for each server role, we're going to check all user roles, and if the role is equal to the user role, then val equals true. Alright? Other than that, value will stay false. So here we're going to return val. So we start at false. If this does not validate, it's going to stay false. If we go through here and we do find it, it's going to return true. So that'll work fine. Alright, so after that, now we need to create in our, you see here how this is where we do read the command from for the bot. It's just open to anything right now. If you write a command with the prefix, it runs it. So we're gonna stop that from happening. So we're gonna check. So we're gonna run our validation function here, and here we're gonna put allowed roles dot roles, and we're gonna put our, as the second parameter in our function, the player roles are technically message dot member dot roles dot array. All right, this is the player roles. So if that's true, or if the message.author is the, sorry, if the author of the message is the owner, so we're going to check message.member.id is equal to our owner. That's what we wrote initially into our settings.json. So here we're going to open this up, and we're going to grab what we wrote down here. We're going to copy it, delete it, and we're going to paste it inside here. Alright, so now this function only gets run if if here returns true for either this one or this one. Alright, so now if this does not run, we're just going to send a message, and the message we're going to send is just going to be, you don't have access to this bot's commands. Alright, this bot commands. Alright, so I think that's all we need for the validation. So let me check. So we got this. Let's give it a try. I just realized a little mistake I did. So if this else is at the wrong spot, so just copy it, remove it. It's supposed to be down here. Alright, so if you want to check to make sure you put it at the good spot, just click on this curly bracket here, and it should show you where it closes. So this thing is supposed to be here, and this is like that. Alright, perfect. I'm going to save that, and I'm going to run it. Alright, so I'm going to grab my Discord, that you guys can see. This is where I try to test it, and it did nothing. So it should give him a message to tell him that he can't write those. So yeah, alright, so you don't have access to these bots commands. Alright, so when I try to run that test, I noticed a little error with the bot, and then when I looked into it, I noticed where the error was generated from, and it's right here into our start folder. Alright, for me it's approximately line 75, but to be more clear where it is, so when you start, you instantly add something, right? And then if you already have some stuff in it, then instead of adding the instantly, we're gonna do test, right? So we're gonna, if the user is present, and then we got else below here. If the user is not present, we're gonna check if the ID is present. But here in add user, instead of m, I had this message.content and message.author. But this is not correct. We want to have m here instead, because this is what I declared in our collector. Alright? This is what holds the message. So change that message to m, and now you won't have any issues with the bot. Alright. Let's test to see if our role function works now. So here I'm going to take my thing open, I'm just going to clear it, and I'm going to node index.js. Alright, so it loads up. Here if you see that I have Fortnite API credentials and you don't have that, that's fine, that's normal. It's because I've been testing out some new functions and this command also. It's for in-game tracking, so to know who got the most kills or who won the scrim match and stuff like that after the match is done. I'm keeping stat. I'm trying to make a little tutorial for that as well. It'll probably come out later. If you guys are interested, leave it in the comments if you're interested, and make sure you subscribe. If no one's interested, I'm not gonna pull it out obviously because it takes some time. All right, so now let's test it. If I take my test user here, this guy, all right, he has a host role. I'm gonna take it off. I don't want him to be a role. So let's start. All right, you do not have roles. So he can't write anything right now, but I'm the owner of the server, so I'm able to add a role. Alright, so I add roles, and the roles that I want to add is host. And then after that, I go here and I give him the host role. Now, you might need to restart the bot after that. See how I got this file change here? Now I have the role in it. We'll try it out. If it doesn't work right now, we just need to restart it. So if I try start, okay, you don't have access. So we take our file here, we cancel it, and we rerun it. And now, if I write start, it works, alright? And now if he writes a code, and I write the same code, and then, oh, I did a typo, I meant to write this, you know, the bot keeps track. So now we have permissions, and the bot is able to track them and fix it how to, is able to like control who's able to write the commands or not. So that works great. Now we still have that issue though, that if you write start again, once it's already running, and if I write any codes, oops, I kind of wrote one letter too much. You see that I will change that one as well, and we don't want that happening. And this will actually generate also an error onto your command. So let me double check, make sure you guys see everything correctly. Yeah, you do. Okay. You see here, I'm getting errors, like a bunch of unknown message and stuff. All right, so we have to make sure we correct those things, because that will generate errors. If the bot is running for long with those kind of errors, at some point it won't work correctly. All right, so now we're going to go fix. All right, so to be able to fix the error message you get when you have multiple start back to back, we're just going to do a quick fix here. It's pretty simple. So we're going to go to our index.js file, and we're going to copy this whole thing right here. All right, copy it, and then we go into our start, and we're going to go all the way to the top, and we're going to paste it under game. All right, so I'm just going to tab it so it looks proper. All right, so now we just copied this in here, and then we're going to go back to our index file, and you see what I wrote right here, this command, this if. I'm also going to copy that, and then we're going to go into our start, and then here at the start of our collect, right under our console log, we're going to paste it, and we need to add a curly bracket at the end because I didn't copy that one. And here, if the collected message we get, so if the content inside this message is equal to start, we're going to stop our collector. So collector dot stop. All right, and then I'm just gonna console log collector stopped. All right, now let's test it. So I'm gonna go open my shell. You can do it in your terminal. I'm gonna clear this, and then I'm going to node.index.js. Alright, and now I'm going to open Discord. I'm going to start. So I got an error here, and I'm going to show you the error I'm getting. So here it says reference fs is not defined. Alright, so if I go back to my start, I never required the file system, so I'm going to go fs.require. I'm going to put fs. When I require stuff, I like to use the single quote, so I'm just going to put that. Alright, now we'll save this, and then let's run it again. Okay, open Discord. Now if I start, it should work. Alright, it works. I'm going to put code. That does not work. Let's check our error. Okay, yeah, so I copied it, right? So I didn't actually, I should have verified before copying this, so give me 1 second. Alright, so after we pasted this, this part, I grabbed it from my index file, so I have to change a few things. Here, we don't have a message variable, we have an m variable. Alright, so if I put m here for both of these, now that should change it so that this is recognized here, and now I'm going to run a test. Alright, so I'm going to clear my console. Oh, I don't know what I just wrote. Oh my god, I cannot type. Alright, clear. So now we run a node.index, not node.index, sorry, node.index.js. You run it. Perfect. Let's open Discord. Let's start. Alright, let's write a code. It works. Perfect. And then write another code here for this other user. I'm gonna change it around, okay. And now if I write start again, okay. And now if I type codes, I didn't write a proper code. So if I write 3Fs, you see, this old one does not get changed anymore. It's only this new one now. And if this user here decides to type something as well, it works fine. Now let's check our console, see if we get any errors. So if I look here, it's collected, and then it says collector stopped when I wrote the start, and then everything else writes fine. If you don't have all these console prints, it's just because at some point I had an error and I wrote a few just to track stuff. So now we're able to run multiple instances of the start command without making the previous one crash. So now we're able to continuously write games without having to restart our bot every single time, which is kind of what we want. Also, I'm looking into making a series, well, not a series, I think it would be just like 1 or 2 videos on how to host your bot onto Heroku. So that would fix the issue of you having to run your bot locally on your machine. Because if you have Wi-Fi or something, this might cause issues of keeping your bot online. It might make it go offline every now and then because your Wi-Fi will disconnect, or your Wi-Fi won't be strong enough to hold the signal. So if I get let's say around like 100 likes on this video and comments for that specific tutorial, I'll do it. If I don't get enough requests for it, I'm not gonna take the time it takes to make it. So if you're interested in that, like and comment the video and make sure you're already subscribed. Alright, so this whole video series is now completed, and it has part 1, part 2, part 3, part 3.5, part 4, part 4.5, and this will be part 5. If you have watched all these video series and you still might have issues with your code anywhere, like if you didn't write something I wrote, send me a message on my Discord. It's in the video description, and I'll send you the version of the code that I wrote. And the reason why I don't post the code is because if you watch the whole series and you have issues, I'll give you the code. If you didn't watch the whole series, then I won't give you the code. Simple as that. Alright, well, if you have any questions for anything, make sure you leave it in the comments. Thanks again for watching, and have a great day.